we'll get into this first topic here. The first one we're going to get into is the Shazam topic itself. So, I'm excited for this because I'll tell you what, despite the Black Adam thing, because I'm real excited for the Black Adam thing. The things that we got at DC Fandom, where we actually got a look at what was going on with that Black Adam movie, it got me far more excited for anything I could have actually imagined that thing being. Because there's been so many like issues with it. Not really issues, but there's just been... It was literally like, how long ago really was it when The Rock was announced to be playing Black Adam? I really feel like it was like 9 years ago at this point.
I mean, I think we're definitely pushing 6. I mean, I think he was announced right around the same time Batman vs. Superman came out, because right after Batman vs. Superman, or right around that time, was when they revealed the whole big slate of films that were supposedly coming out of the DCEU, which included Justice League Part 1 and 2, and included Second Wonder Woman, included Aquaman, and I think in those announcements, Flash, and I think in that announcement, Black Adam was in there, and I think they already had The Rock tied to it. So yeah, we're looking at 5-6 years since that announcement has been made, with absolutely zero movement on the film besides what we got at DC Fandom last year.
Yeah, and then like zero movement's almost like that's almost putting it lightly. Like there was like The Rock's gonna play Black Adam. Silence. Like no news on like who else is gonna be in the movie, if it was gonna be tied to Shazam in any way, like nothing. And then finally at DC Fandom, The Rock was just always very sparse about it when he talked about it. He was just like, "Yeah, we're doing it. That's it."
I think the one or two comments I heard from him in that, you know, between when it was announced in DC Fandom, I think I heard maybe 2 things about it, and it was always, "We're just trying to get the script right." So that was it. But yeah,
I know is like Dr. Fate. They showed Dr. Fate, and like I mean JSA altogether, which is it's fine,
exactly.
but like Dr. Fate is my dude, man. I love Dr. Fate. Like I've always I even love when he showed up in Smallville. Like of all the things Smallville like did wrong over the years, I love Smallville. Like I'm not like hating on Smallville or anything, but like it wasn't really like, I know it's not supposed to be a Superman show, but it was a Superman show. You know what I mean? Like, but they did the Dr. Fate stuff really good, I thought.
And you also have to, you know, think back to what things were like in the early 2000s. I mean, you had some superhero films. You had the Spider-Man series, and you had X-Men, and so you had a handful of things here and there, but it was still pretty sparse out there. It was not like the golden age we are living in now of the MCU and the occasional good DC movie. So
yeah, I mean, these definitely are wondrous times.
Yeah.
And
you took what you could get back then.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, all things considered, I did like Smallville. It definitely had some rocky stuff, like for sure. I mean, the stuff that happened with what's Allison Mack aside.
Oh yeah.
Like I just recently watched that documentary on HBO about all that, dude. That stuff was weird. Like it was really weird. I forget what it's called. I never
got into it too much, but yeah, it sounded pretty strange.
It was interesting.
But to be fair, yeah, I think we're both in agreement that Smallville, we've kind of gotten off track here, but I think we're both in agreement that Smallville was a pretty good show. And the good episodes were excellent. They were very good. But I think it suffered from the same thing that a lot of scripted dramas that are full seasons, full 22, 24 episode seasons run into, is that eventually you got to throw some filler in there. And Smallville may have had more filler than others, but it still kind of fell victim, I think, to that during some of the storylines. But it was still, like I said, when it was good, and throughout its run, when it was good, it was excellent.
Oh yeah, for sure. I really liked it. Like, yeah, even my boy Sam Witwer ended up showing up as Doomsday on there. Weird ass interpretation of Doomsday, but he was there and it was cool. But with this Shazam stuff, if we get back on track, Shazam, dude, I'm very excited. We don't have like an actual date for this, but it just says May. But that's coming up right around the corner. And Shazam, the first one, I love that movie. It was probably my second favorite DCEU movie, if we're going to still call it DCEU. I mean, obviously behind Man of Steel, but I will put it above Wonder Woman. Wonder Woman being number 3. I like Shazam that much, which is
Yeah.
probably more than most people, but I think
No,
I like Man of Steel more than most people too, so.
I guess I've never even thought about ranking the DCEU movies, but I think I'd put it right there with you. The only thing that I think could have made Shazam better was if they actually had Henry Cavill in that
Yeah.
credit
Yeah.
scene, or that in cap scene, instead of just nondescript guy in Superman suit. But
Yeah, for sure.
yeah, other than that, the movie was tonally, it was perfect for me. It had a good mix of humor and action, a good story. Yeah, I mean, just all around an excellent film.
Yeah, I loved it, dude. Zach Levi was super charismatic as old Shazam himself, and just like
Yeah.
it was a good juxtaposition between the kid Billy Batson and then the grown up Zach Levi version. I will say though, and people did give this criticism, and like I do believe I follow it to some degree, is that the younger Billy Batson character did almost seem more mature than Zach Levi's Shazam character at times. Just because they made
Yeah.
Billy out to be this like very stoic kid
Street
because of
Smart.
his situation. And
Sure.
but I mean, I always took it as like he's that stoic kind of like in a bad situation kid, but then he finds out and doesn't not find out, but then he gets these superpowers. So it kind of
He
just
loses all his
switches.
cares. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
All your concerns and cares go away when you're a 6'3",
Yeah.
250 Superman that can do basically anything. You don't have those worries that are on the mind of a homeless kid or a kid that's bouncing around through
Yeah.
foster homes. So yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
exactly. All the endorphins just flood through his brain, and he's just all giddy and hyper like Zach Levi is. Like that's the way
Yeah.
I took it anyway. I feel like it made sense for that to some degree, so I thought it was good. But I'm
Well,
excited for it, man. I hope they can work in some rock stuff, some Black Adam stuff. I want them to set that up. Like that's what if I get anything out of this, that's what I want. Like I want that to happen at some point.
yeah, it's interesting how those two characters are so tied together so closely. I mean, Black Adam is Shazam's arch nemesis in the comics, but yet when it comes to the films, they seem to be kind of keeping them separate and intentionally separate for some reason. I'm curious what that's for. But yeah, I'm super. I'm also really excited because we got teased. It wasn't even teased. We got the Shazam family, into the story, but right at the tail end of the first movie. So this will be really fun to see the whole Shazam family maybe interact on a bigger scale, for a sequel film. So
Yeah, if anything too, I liked the Shazam family. Now that you bring it up, I liked the Shazam family stuff, and I like all the people who were like, I liked all the cast and everything. I
Mhm.
do feel like they probably should have waited on it though. If I had one nitpick about the thing, I feel like that would have been better served for like the second or third movie when Shazam is getting his ass beat by Black Adam. That would have been a perfect time for the Shazam family to come in with the assist. In my opinion, that would be the only thing. If I could change anything, that's what I would change because they just like kind of throw him in real quick in the first movie.
Definitely. I agree with you. In an ideal world, that would be how they would have been introduced.
Mhm.
Part of me wonders if when they were writing the script for it, they were like, it's Shazam. It is as popular as popping off as superhero movies are right now. Shazam's kind of a forgotten character from like the 1940s and 50s. So if we're gonna do it, let's just do everything that we would want to do. And so they threw him in there
Mhm.
just because they were afraid they might not get the chance again to do it later.
That's true. Like I would that's probably a good assumption. Is like might as well do it in case we don't get a sequel. Like
Yep.
I could totally see him do that. And if anything, too, maybe it helped push it to getting that sequel. Like maybe people thought it was like its own because you got to think of it, they're almost like their own little group of Avengers to some degree. Like it's their own little JLA. It's their own little thing. Like
It is, and not to I don't know, not to bring in other social issues that people may tie to and have differing opinions on, but I wonder if it also again give them the opportunity to bring in a cast to allow a wider audience to see themselves as the superhero in the movie too.
Oh yeah, the diversity, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, by bringing the whole family in, you then get representation for a lot of different groups and people, and give all those different groups their own way into the movie besides just as a fan of the character Shazam himself.
Oh yeah, 100%. That's actually a good point. Like I could totally see that. Even if that is a little scummy on a corporate level in some degree, like if it was pushed down, just like, well, let's just do that because that's appealing. But if they did it from the right place, that's a very good
Sure.
point. You know what I mean? Because 100%, like, because you definitely, I always like this example is like Marvel, and everyone loves the MCU, but Marvel went 18 movies with all white male leads or something like that, and then you finally got Black Panther and Carol
Correct.
Danvers. Yeah. So, like, people like to say, like, it's not a thing. It's a thing. Like,
Sure.
it's definitely a thing. Even if it's not on the nose and
They
blatant,
were,
like, it's a thing.
and I don't think it was, I mean, it's purely speculation on my part. I don't think it was a thing that Marvel was like intentionally like, we don't want to
Oh,
do
yeah,
those.
no.
I think it was more Marvel was just like, this is what's working for us. We're a new film studio where this is where we're going with it, especially when you talk about like phase one of the MCU. Um, but now that that they're getting deeper and they're firmly entrenched, I think they're feeling more comfortable. And you can see, if it took them 18 movies to get us Black Panther, but they were able to do it as well as they did, I'm glad that they waited because that movie they did such an excellent job with it.
Mhm.
I'm glad that they took their time and didn't just do it just for the sake of doing it.
Oh, for sure. And, yeah, I definitely don't mean that as a detractor either, because like the not really the sad truth, but the reality of it is like the time that the comic books and superheroes were created, it was in
Sure.
a time where there wasn't representation. So like you're gonna have an imbalance of diversity because like those more diverse characters weren't created till much later down the line. There's just a more abundance of your generic white guy, like in
Yeah.
the comic book world. That's just which is why it's good that there is the representation being happening here because it was a problem back then, just in general around the world, and it's been a problem in Hollywood for quite a long time. So for
Yeah, I
sure.
mean, you can look at it this way, the Marvel comic book universe probably took a good, you know, 10 to 20 years to really begin diversifying their characters,
Mhm.
whereas the MCU took, 5 or 6, so
Yeah, for sure.
it's yeah.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. But question is, guys, what do you think about Shazam 2 finally going into production? Are you like us? Are you at least for me, I really want the Black Adam thing to happen. If I can have anything happen in Shazam 2, I don't know if it's going to happen just because of the Black Adam situation being delayed and The Rock being like the busiest dude in Hollywood. So like that's the other kind of problem with it is like if you don't hit the date The Rock has scheduled, chances are he's probably got 4 other things lined up. So it's like it's not just going to be delayed a year. It's like you're potentially delayed 2 years now. So I don't know. We'll just have to see though. Let us know what you think down in the comment section below.